All right, I apologize for the late start this morning, but we're gonna get it going. We're gonna talk about interior detailing efficiency. We don't do a lot of interiors, but when we do them, we wanna make sure that we're being efficient, so I wanna go through and show you my process of cleaning the interior and talk about how we do it and what to look for. I started off detailing, when I did my first interior detail, it took me about 8 hours, and I wasn't even finished. Unfortunately, the woman left with wet carpets and a not very clean interior. I've been detailing for 20 years, 15 of those years were day in and day out in detailing. I figured out a process to be able to get it done in under 2 hours with most cars. So we're gonna do that a little bit. I'm gonna go through this process of how I do things first, and hopefully you can digest some of it and use it when you get into your own interior detail. Number one efficiency killer is not being able to find a tool. So we've done a very good job at both the shops at labeling everything and seeing where everything is in the shop before we actually start our interior detail. Grab a cart, get everything that you would need for that detail. These interior details should take about 2 to 3 hours, and you don't want to stop in the middle. What can happen if you jump off that interior detail, you may be out of rhythm, you may be out of flow, and you may not remember exactly where you are, and you may end up doing things twice. So very important, once we start this interior detail, start it, stay in one spot, and then finish it. Getting up or leaving to try to find something is the biggest efficiency killer. There's a gentleman in the industry, Yvon LaCroix, who has some great advice, and he said, just record yourself doing a detail. And you'd be amazed on how many times leave the car back and forth, or walk around in circles, or do things that are creating inefficiencies when you're doing the detailing process. So the faster we can do things, the better we can do things. It is a value for our customer, and we want to make sure that we're delivering the best possible value to our customer. So on the detailing cart here, I have all my microfiber towels that I use. We have all the brushes, we have the Scrub Ninjas. I have some carpet cleaning system here that I'm gonna introduce you guys to. And then I have all my dressings and window towels ready to go. All right, let's go through the process. I've developed a 4-step process. And this is the way I think about the car. I always start in the driver's position. You don't have to start in the driver's, you can start in the passengers if you want, but I start in the driver's position. And the first step I do is called the blowout, and we're gonna show you a little something different with the dry ice machine here. But basically the blowout is, we take the personal belongings, put them in a bag. If I take out anything on somebody's car, I like to put it back where I found it. So if I'm taking stuff out of the center console, I take it, I put it in a bag, and I'll either put it in the back of the car, sometimes on the windshield, or in a box next to the car. We want to make sure the customer is happy when they leave and they have all their stuff. Unfortunately, it sucks if they leave here and we forget to put all their stuff in there. Put it next to the wheel, in the back of the trunk, wherever you won't forget it when you're taking it out. But if we take something out of the door pocket, I usually put it in an individual bag, and I'll put it in the back, and when I'm done cleaning, I'll put it back in the door pocket with the bag. A lot of times they'll have garage door openers or keys or something that they need to find. What we don't want to do is put everything in one bag and put it in the back, because it's hard for them to find. We want to make it as easy as possible when they come back and pick up their car that they can find whatever they need to find. Then we continue with the blowout. I'm using the vacuum and an air hose, and in this case I'll be using the dry ice machine to blow out all the cracks, the crevices, the seat, in between the seats in the center console, the cup holders, the doors, the door pockets. I'm blowing everything out and I'm vacuuming up as much as I can. This is usually 5 to 15 minutes on a standard car. It can obviously, if you get a minivan, if you get a lot of dog hair, if you get something that's really nasty, it could go up to 20 and 30 minutes for this first initial step. But the first initial step is literally just blowing everything out, getting a majority of the debris and dirt and the salt, everything out of the car. It does not have to be a perfect vacuum. So if you're spending more than the normal 5 or 15 minutes, you may be spending too long on this step and being a little inefficient. And I'll show you this, but I do encourage you to try to get as close as you can to watch. That's the first step, called the blowout. The second step, if the floor mats are dirty, try to clean just the surfaces of carpets. We're gonna be going through carpet cleaning and theory on carpet cleaning and what we're looking for that. If the carpet is not that dirty, we want to just clean the top surface of the carpet. We can spray a couple chemicals on there, use the extractor, dry extract it, and then rub it with a microfiber towel, and usually that'll be good enough. If the carpet is full of salts, full of dirt, it is really bad, we will have to use the pressure washer and then use the extractor to get as much water out. And we'll go through that process too. This is a perfect example of something that we would add probably another hour or two, and that's the job of the sales guys up front. But it's your guys' job to let them know what takes longer, what they should look for. They're not out here every day doing details like you guys. So to keep them aware of knowing that, hey, even if they didn't add an hour to this car, which it should have with all the dog hair, is to next time, hey, next time this type of car would have an extra hour on because of these types of carpets, these types of situations, this type of dog hair in there. It's just gonna take more time to be able to vacuum it out and go through and remove all the hair that we need to do. Step number 2 is cleaning all the leather, vinyl, and rubber. I'm gonna grab the Scrub Ninja for like all the doors, the center console, stuff like that. I love this brush for the leather seats. We don't have any leather in there, but then I have a work stuff brush and this toothbrush looking thing. So again, I start in the driver's position. I put the seat all the way back, and then I start cleaning the center console. I always start cleaning in the center console, and you'll see me, I put chemical inside the cup holders, and then I use my brushes in my Scrub Ninja, and I'll clean that entire center console, usually up to the radio. I'll clean everything. I'll use my air to blow everything out, get everything dry, and I'll take a double check and make sure that I have all the cracks and crevices and little areas that are clean. If it is clean, I'll move on to the top of the dash, the steering wheel, all the instrument panels, all the gauges. I'll clean everything there, the vents, and go through it and clean as much as possible. And I'll work my way out to the door. If the seat is leather, I'll go ahead and turn around and clean that leather seat. Once I'm done with that leather seat and the side, I'll put the seat all the way up. I'll clean the side of the seat, and then I'll move on to the back. This first part is usually the longest part of it because you're doing the center console, you're doing the gauges, you're doing the steering wheel. If it's really dirty, it takes a little bit of time. 20 minutes on a clean car to maybe 45 minutes on a really dirty car. Extend the time if it's a minivan. You're gonna have more area to clean if it's a minivan, up to an hour, hour and a half sometimes on something that's really dirty or a minivan. We're gonna work our way around the car to the back seat, all the way to the trunk, to the other side of the car, all the way up to the passenger side, cleaning all the leather, rubber, vinyl, plastics, whatever there is. I usually take a look at the headliner too, and any top buttons up there, and spot clean any headliner stuff at that time, so you'll see me doing that. Third step is all the fabrics. If the seats are fabric, if the carpets are fabric, I'll go ahead and clean them. This is why we charge extra for dog hair. So if you don't see that extra hour on the invoice, just come show the sales guys. They don't do this every day, so they don't necessarily know. They gotta know what takes longer. And carpets like these with dog hair like that, they have to know to charge the customer extra. So we're working as a team, make sure they know. We want to clean the carpet the best we can with the least amount of water. If we're using a lot of water, it takes a lot of time to dry. It can end up molding. And honestly, we just want to clean the top surface. We don't want anything to drip down into that fabric. A lot of times if something's really, really dirty, all that dirt, all that grime, and all that mud can be actually brought down into the surface, and when that surface dries, it actually comes back into the top of the fibers. Our first step, if we do it right, we're getting most of the dirt and the mud or whatever's there, the salt. We want to get as much out of the carpet as possible in that first step. The dry ice can help with fabric seats a lot on getting that stuff. If there's anything stuck to the fabric seats, it can do a great job. Going through the seats, going through the carpets, I'm going to show you the 3-step process with the P&S here. So this is a great process for you guys not to have to think. So there's a lot of different stains, right? Whether it's coffee, whether it's wine, whether it's something spilled, whether it's organic, whether it's food. Sometimes we don't know what those stains are, and P&S has made it really easy to be able to have a 3-step process and remove as much staining as possible without knowing exactly what the stain is. When it comes to stain cleaning, there's certain alkalines or acid cleaners that can actually set the stain in. Step number 1 is this enzyme cleaner. This is more of an acid cleaner to attack some of those coffee stains, some of the wine stains, and stuff like that. This is the spot remover, so if you're going through the first step and blowing out the carpets using the vacuum, if you find any spots, you can spray this real quick and let it soak while you're cleaning the dash, the doors, and all the rubber and vinyl and everything. The number 2 step in the system is Carpet Bomber. This is more on the alkaline side, so this attacks greases, oils, food, organics. This does a very good job, and this is your general cleaner. So if you use this, you'll spray this on the carpet, just a couple sprays. I'll go through it when we do it. You don't need to use a lot. We're not trying to soak the carpet here. Use a little bit extra if you have stains, spray them, scrub them with the brush real quick and let them sit. Come back with the Carpet Bomber and we can do a couple different things. We could use a steamer on this if we wanted to. Heat helps clean fibers and helps the chemicals work a little bit better. Or we can use a brush and a microfiber and our extractor if we need to. So we'll spray this down, wipe it, clean it, and hopefully these two will get most of the stains out in the carpet clean. The third one is called Finisher. It's a peroxide. When you spray chemicals in a vehicle, the chemicals want to work, they want to clean. What happens is if you don't remove these chemicals and you leave them in there, they're still gonna wanna clean. So when you come in with dirty feet, it is literally gonna take the dirt off the bottom of your shoes and it's gonna pull it into the fibers of the carpet. And they're gonna get a lot dirtier faster if you're not removing these chemicals. The second step is to actually neutralize them. So this is a neutralizer. This will stop the cleaning process of these two chemicals here. And it's supposed to be an odor neutralizer too. It has a little bit of a peroxide smell to it. It's not great, but this will neutralize both these chemicals and stop these chemicals from working and pulling out any dirt or anything that will potentially come into the car after you're done cleaning it. So very important, third step. This is again, just a light mist on the carpet, wipe it down with a microfiber or a brush and dry extract it out, get it as clean as possible. Use that microfiber to rub the top fibers of the carpet so that dirt and chemical can transfer into this microfiber towel. What I usually like to do after I get done doing the carpets is grab a clean microfiber, and I'll usually just use the window cleaner here, and I'll just go through and just take a look at any of the rubber or the vinyls and just go through and just check and make sure I got everything. Fourth step is the finishing step, basically. This is all the conditioners, whether it's leather conditioner, plastic conditioner, or the spray Instant Shine, yeah. So what I like to do is I like to start with the Instant Shine. This is great for the hard to get areas, buttons in between the center console and stuff. So I spray it in the cup holders, I spray the radio, I spray the air vents, I spray the seatbelt areas. I do not spray gas pedal and the brake pedal. I go around the car and I get all the hard to reach areas with the Instant Shine. This is a silicone-based product. It's very shiny, it's very thick. Very important that we wipe off the excess to it, but not yet. First step is to spray all those hard to reach areas. Second step is to hit the plastic conditioner. We're gonna use the plastic conditioner with an applicator and wipe all the vinyl, rubber, so like center console, dashboard, all the rubber areas, the door panels. We're gonna wipe it down just like a lotion on your hands. We're gonna do a nice even layer. The last step to that process is to take a clean, dry microfiber and blend in and remove all the excess conditioners. Very, very important. Wipe all the center console. This is where you actually wipe down all the trim pieces. So sometimes the trim pieces can be a little bit streaky, can have some excess conditioners on it, but this process should be able to wipe all those down. They should look good. You should be able to wipe all the buttons down. The worst thing that can happen when we're using conditioners like this is if they're streaky or if we miss spots, it can look terrible. So I'd rather not do these conditioners if we're not gonna do it right, because it can look worse in the end by not doing it properly. It should look pretty natural. You don't want any excess in there. You don't want any spots that don't have any conditioner. The conditioners that we use aren't very silicone. It's a matte finish. It's not a heavy shine type of finish. So we want this to look as natural as possible, and that's the goal in the end, to use that dry microfiber and go through and wipe down all the dash, the doors, the center console, and make sure everything is blended in and there's no excess within there. The last step is the windows. Cleaning the inside of the windows. We drop down the window, clean that top edge of the window, put the window up, clean that with the wet towel. Use the dry towel, the second one, to get that edge. Put up the window. Now you're gonna use this towel and you're gonna use your fingers to get on the edge here, down here, and in the side. We wanna get as much of that dirt up as possible and then scrub that window. We want all that dirt in this towel, because if we don't get all this dirt in the towel, our second towel is just drying it. If there's any dirt left over, that's where you're gonna get streaks. We wanna make sure that we're cleaning them as good as possible. We can spend, an hour and a half, 2 hours cleaning, doing this interior, and if we have streaky windows, that's all the customer is gonna see. So we wanna make sure that we're doing a proper job all the way through the interior detail. Blow out all the rubber, vinyl, plastics, and leather, all the carpets, and then finish it with all the conditioners and clean the windows. We should be able to get this done in about 2 hours on an average car. If you get something disgusting, if you get a van, if you get an SUV, this is obviously gonna raise how long you're gonna take. We have 4.5 hours allocated for an SUV or a bigger car. In an oversized van or a big Suburban, we have 5.5 hours allocated. I wanna show you the process and how I work and what I do. I think this is important. You can see the sections that I'm going in, and hopefully you can picture what I just said in those 4 different processes, and you can see me acting it out and doing it and going through this entire process. Cool? I'd ask if you have any questions, but I think I know the answer. I feel like I tortured you just by watching me, but I don't know any other way to do it, so.